I'm sitting down this morning with David Porter, who's the Executive Director of Glimmer Austin. Thanks for joining me today, David. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Great seeing you as well.
And February is Black History Month, so this month we want to profile people of color making history in their communities. You are the Executive Director of Glimmer Austin, but before that you went to University of Texas in the 80s, where you worked with youth at an East Austin elementary school. How did this experience ignite your passion for serving marginalized groups in our community?
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity just to share. Yes, I did come to the University of Texas back in the early 80s. And at that time I was pursuing a degree in engineering. And about 3.5 years into that, I decided to, after going out and finding a summer job at a youth facility, actually with Boys and Girls Clubs of Austin, I fell in love with the work, fell in love with the kids, and the overall mission of trying to offer opportunities to youth who otherwise wouldn't even realize that they are, special, and they do have an opportunity to grow, and they can grow and learn and be successful. And so I started working at Boys and Girls Clubs part-time, and then also going to school, and just fell in love with the fact that I got a chance to engineer lives, I thought, and expose kids to opportunities, again, whether educational or job opportunities. And so that being said, I changed majors and almost caused an earthquake in my home. My dad was like, "You gonna do what? You're gonna change? You're gonna do what?" I was like, "Yeah, Dad. I just feel like this is where I need to go." My mom had taught school for 40 years, so I kind of leaned on her side. She instilled a lot of, both actually did, the importance of education and the importance of working with people and helping and assisting. And so I changed majors, worked at Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the rest of my college career, and when I graduated, I was offered a full-time opportunity to stay on with Boys and Girls Clubs, and so that's where I really kind of cut my teeth, if you will. I stayed there for about 10 years, realized that, hey, if you really want to, kind of grow in your career, you need to go back to school. So I went back, years after that, and got my MBA in organizational learning and management, and from Our Lady of the Lake in San Antonio. So I commuted back and forth. And so from there, I stayed on with the Boys and Girls Clubs for about another year or so, and then was offered an opportunity to work for the city, in the city of Austin, the police department in particular, in the community liaison office. And so using the experience and, whether grant writing or youth development programs or just, building a network, when I was with Boys and Girls Clubs, I was able to kind of parlay that into a role at the police department. Every year we would have a conference which would convene and which was comprised of all those different sectors, all the different entities, the nonprofit community, police, law enforcement, neighborhood associations, really grassroots organizations, and we would invite them in and have sort of a state of the city, if you will. The police chief, at that time it was Chief Nee, he would come, he would address the participants and share kind of his vision for the police department. So it was all community relations. It was all trying to mend those fences. It was all trying to create that sense of community and that sense of policing, community policing here in Austin. And it was wonderful. It was amazing. It really set up my professional career. And so I did that for like 4.5, 5 years or so, and I heard about a couple that had just sold their company here in Austin and had established their own family foundation. And so I met with Philip and Donna Berber and the Glimmer of Hope, had a conversation about what he wanted to do and what they wanted to do actually here in the city. And then from there, things just kind of took off from there. So I moved from the police department to work for the Family Foundation back in 2003 to help them build a model for grant making here in Austin, in administration and all of that. So utilizing again the network.
Yeah, the community.
And the relationships.
And something
like
you said really
yeah.
just stuck with me, how you said, you really wanted to have a hand in engineering kids' lives. And it makes me think of the expression, you're exactly where you need to be. And that even though you didn't pursue a career in engineering, that it's just you flipped it and just a different way of viewing the world. And a big part of Glimmer's mission is to provide seed money for startup 501c3s. So why is it important for Glimmer to invest in early stage nonprofits?
He knew that coming into this that we wanted to invest in the small guy. We wanted to invest in those organizations that just needed not a hand out but a hand up. Mm-hmm. They just needed a little seed capital to serve as a catalyst that would help them grow. And so it's a matter of really just investing in, as we often say, it's not in projects, but it's in people. And so we would find in using, again, the network and ears on the ground of what's going on in Austin, we would seek out those different organizations to support. And then they would also, through an RFP process, they would turn in submit applications and proposals and things like that. So it was really a fact-finding, kind of a learning opportunity for us as well. But we wanted to support the smaller organizations.
It's very important. And what do you see are the most effective ways to break the cycles of poverty in the greater Austin area?
It's been said over and over again, but it's, without a doubt, it's education. It is definitely education. It's catching those kids early on, if you will, and helping them to develop a path that will lead to, success, a path that will lead to, careers that will allow them to break that cycle. And yes, homelessness is key. And homelessness is something that it's starting to just, we live our lives without sometimes really with blankets. I do personally, sometimes, and all you know is you gotta go to work, you gotta pick up a kid here, you gotta go here, you gotta run over here and you gotta go teach school meetings and all these other kinds of things, and you forget, you drive by, people that are, that are in desperate situations, that may have been impacted by the perfect storm, who are, but by the grace of God, there go I. And so you never know. And so now I'm more cognizant, and I try and share that with my kids. And my wife, she's amazing in her own right. Just recently retired as a school counselor, middle school counselor, that's had to face and deal with all kinds of situations. All kinds of abuses, all kinds of, you name it. Suicide ideation. Kids in middle school dealing with these. So again, I kind of got off, I kind of got away, but it's in context of what we do here and why we do it. When I go to put a key in my door at night when it's 30 degrees outside, I'm thinking, okay, yes, I am blessed to be here. I'm about to go get a warm blanket and all of that, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, wow, there's someone that's living out here in this. There's someone that's under the bridge. There's someone that's huddled, that's cuddled under a bush somewhere with cardboard or somewhere, and they have to endure this. So it just brings it all back. And yes, I'm driven, and we're driven here. We're passionate about trying to meet those needs, those immediate needs. Those don't always surface, don't always come up on a, in a report, what's your impact? Well, yeah, we realize that that's important too. There's a what's the impact, and you can kind of get into that whole game. But at the end of the day, for this one starfish, for this one person, our impact was huge, was tremendous. So yes, the city may have gotten upset if we, under the radar, we started distributing tents, and we did. And this, Philip and I and the team here was like, okay, what can we do that can immediately impact someone? We drive up to a red light, someone's there. We ask them, hey, are you sleeping outside? Obviously you are. You have a tent, well, here's a pop-up tent that's water resistant, that's bug repellent is a tent, and we've done that just kind of underneath. Now the city they don't want you to pop, they want the pop-up tents and all that, and that's a whole different story. But the fact is, so our focus here is to reach out and to try and serve those that are most at need, whether if they're hungry or if they're if they need shelter or if they need something. We're trying to do our part in that sense. And then there's, of course, there is a plan or a method to the madness, right? But the fact is, so our focus here is to reach out and to try and serve those that are most at need, whether if they're hungry or if they're if they need shelter or if they need something. We're trying to do our part in that sense. And then there's, of course, there is a plan or a method to the madness, right? There are organizations out there that are really, just doing a phenomenal job of reaching, providing these services. And so our focus is trying to find those and then trying to find ways of supporting those organizations.
And when we think about homelessness, it's dirty and it's smelly and sometimes covered in sores, and it's nothing that makes us comfortable, and it's really looking at somebody at their absolute rock bottom. But what we do fail to realize oftentimes is that we are instead very connected to the causes of homelessness. None of us are far removed from abuse, addiction, mental health. All of us have mental health. Just depends, where you hit on the spectrum. And and I think that whatever we can do to bring people closer together, like you said, it really does take a community. It's people from all different backgrounds, and that is the true essence of community.
It's your neighbor, it's your brother, it's your sister, it's your whoever, regardless.
Whether it's figurative or literal, right? We are all brothers and sisters at the end of the day.
At the very end of the day. And so,
Absolutely.
I don't know if that was...
Yes. Oh, I think you do such an incredible job of walking the talk and inspiring, and I think hopefully people will hear this and feel called to walk in the same direction. So thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for all you do.